And there we go.
And there we go. Hello, everyone. Hello, Melanie. Hello, Ren. Hello, Kayla.
How is everyone tonight?
Yeah, how's everybody doing? It's been a little bit. We're good.
We're doing good.
Busy. Just been very busy lately. But we're good. Should I be worried about that?
I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. All right. I just feel like a lot of things have been happening, and we just haven't had time for this.
We really haven't.
Like, we haven't... I mean, we do have a couple of videos that are, like, in process. They're not done yet. But we've just been busy. There's been a lot happening.
We're glad we could get together and share in this, the day of Voldemort's defeat.
Yes, we are here to celebrate and relive the defeat of the Dark Lord.
Allegedly.
That means we will be reading
A story.
chapter 36, The Flaw in the Plan. But we will sit and chill for a minute and wait to see if anybody else wants to show up.
So what was the flaw in the plan? That's where they actually, like, duel it out?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Harry reveals the flaw in Voldemort's plan.
Hence the name.
Yes.
Well, I guess we don't have to read that anymore. There you go. There you have it. That's the basic premise.
That's the last time. We haven't done that in a while.
There was a flaw in your plan. Me.
Tom, you done goofed.
Listen here, Tommy boy. Oh man, that would be a great crossover. If Chris Farley was still alive. Could see that as an SNL skit. Chris Farley is Voldemort.
Oh my god. Oh my god. That'd be interesting, to say the least.
Holy shnikes, do you know who I am? I'm the Dark Lord.
I feel like I don't know enough about Tom Farley to Chris Farley to really.
You're getting into it though, Tom Farley.
Yeah, see? Okay, there you go. I saw that movie once.
Tommy Boy?
Yeah.
Or Black Sheep?
I've never seen Black Sheep.
Black Sheep's the one with the, his brother's like a politician. No?
Nope.
Okay.
No idea.
It was great.
I believe you.
That was the height of like this slapstick, just kind of dumb comedy era.
Would I like it?
With like Chris Farley and Adam Sandler and everything. It depends on how serious you want to take a movie. You gotta just... It's kind of like you gotta take a few hits of a blunt, I guess.
Maybe.
For it to really take effect. I thought it was great. I actually haven't watched Tommy Boy in a long time.
I think the last time you probably watched it was when we watched it together, because I watched it for the first time.
Did we watch it together?
Pretty sure we did, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you were like, what? You've never seen it before? And I was like, nope.
It's a masterpiece. It's like saying you have never seen Happy Gilmore.
I liked Happy Gilmore more.
Well, that is... Yeah, Happy Gilmore is way better, but still. Happy Gilmore is the greatest Adam Sandler movie. How did we get on this tangent?
What happened? Did something happen?
I don't know. Got a lot of dropped frames.
I don't know. Did something happen? Is the stream flubbing up? If the stream is being naughty, let us know. Oh, she just retracted the message. I don't know. Are we good? What's happening? Does it mean anything if that's frozen?
Yeah, it might mean the stream.
Oh. Okay. Should I just sit here and wait? Should I keep even talking?
Hold on. See, this is the thing I hate about YouTube, because if I stop the stream to like fix anything, it's going to start a whole new live stream. Instead of like Twitch, where it would just freeze for a second and then come back as soon as I started again.
Right.
Right.
She said yes, it ended, then came back. So are we good now? Or are we... Ren is like, hello? Y'all still there? Should I chat? Should I put it...
Yeah, go ahead.
Like, you gotta... I don't know if the stream is good, but if it is... Hi, Catherine. Nice to see you. Let us know if we're doing all right. Kayla's like, it's good. Ren is like, it's not good. I don't know. So, y'all... Catherine says it's good. Are we good? I'm gonna...
I guess so.
All right, well...
It's saying we have a bunch of dropped frames, but at the same time it's streaming at like the right bit rate and everything. I'm as confused as everyone else.
I don't know. I just sit and talk. That's all I do. So, there's just a big delay on the messages, Kayla says.
Oh, okay.
So I guess the chat is slow, but the video and the audio are fine.
So it's a YouTube thing. Okay.
So it's not an us thing. It sounds like it's not an us thing. Okay, then maybe we'll just keep going. And Ren says the video keeps stopping. I don't know. We're trying, everyone. We're trying. We don't know why this happens randomly. We're trying to make sure it's all going smoothly. But I mean, I asked how everyone is doing. Like, does anyone have any fun updates? Like, what's going on in everyone's universe these days? All right, Kayla's like, video's good at the yeah, we were getting mixed signals on the video quality, so Ren is like, no, it is not okay. Kayla's like, it's fine. Ren is like, it is not fine. It is not okay. So I don't know. I don't know.
Let me open it up in a tab. We'll see.
Okay. We will see what the stream looks like for ourselves, apparently. Or not.
Wait, I thought it popped up here. Never mind.
No. I guess not.
Hold on, I'm going to it.
You're good. There it is. There it is. Let's see what it's doing. Oh, been thinking about starting Percy Jackson. If people recommend. So I guess.
I see what you mean. It's like a little stuttery, but it's not like dropping.
It doesn't look like it's dropping.
No. But I think you're good to read.
Okay.
As long as like the audio isn't like.
As long as you guys can
super
hear
weird.
me fine and hear us fine. The video part is kind of whatever, as long as you can hear us. I have not read Percy Jackson, so I don't know. I can't recommend it. Because I can't say if it's good or if it's bad.
We have them. You said you were going to read
We
them.
have them. I did say I was going to read them. And I have not done that. Instead, oh, now it's like green. Okay, so maybe it's fine.
I don't now. I opened up the stream and it just no more drop frames. It's okay.
Okay.
We just had to watch ourselves. That's all.
That's a very okay. That's a interesting.
Okay.
Whatever works, I suppose.
No one touch anything now.
I'm not touching anything. I'm just here to read a chapter of a book. That's all I'm doing. If anyone is interested in
You're good to start.
a
Whenever.
chapter of the book, is anyone interested in some Harry Potter today? Are you interested in some Harry Potter today?
I'm interested in some Harry Potter. You know, I gotta say, I did start like daydreaming though. Would be really cool to see Mortal Kombat. You know how Mortal Kombat introduces like characters every now and then. Like I think they introduced Freddy at one point and like Jason.
Oh,
when there
yeah,
was a
yeah,
Jason.
yeah.
They should Warner Brothers should do a mashup with Harry Potter because Warner Brothers owns Mortal Kombat too.
Oh my god.
You could play as Dumbledore and Voldemort.
That'd be cool. I feel like Fenrir Greyback would fit the theme of Mortal Kombat very well.
Voldemort's finishing move can be where he like turns the person inside out. That spell.
The smell that turns people inside out. Whatever that spell is.
Whatever it is.
Whatever it is, we never find out. Was that the thing that disappointed you the most about Harry Potter? You never found out what that spell was.
That or never finding out what happened to Ludo Bagman.
Yeah. Well, we know what happened to Ludo Bagman.
But do we?
I mean, I'll consider that to be my headcanon of what happened to him.
Fair enough.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start, if y'all are interested, in,
While you do that, I'm just going to grab some water.
celebrating the demise of the Dark Lord by reading the demise of the Dark Lord. Who's ready? All right, let's do this. Oh, the picture of the chapter is so sad. Okay, here we go. Chapter 36. The Flaw in the Plan. He was lying face down on the ground again. The smell of the forest filled his nostrils. He could feel the cold, hard ground beneath his cheek, and the hinge of his glasses, which had been knocked sideways by the fall, cutting into his temple. Every inch of him ached, and the place where the killing curse had hit him felt like the bruise of an ironclad punch. He did not stir, but remained exactly where he had fallen, with his left arm bent out at an awkward angle and his mouth gaping. He had expected to hear cheers of triumph and jubilation at his death, but instead hurried footsteps, whispers, and solicitous murmurs filled the air. Oh! Oh! What has happened? Nothing, it just did this. It just went like that. I didn't do anything. Oh. Oh, see, it ended again, and it's back, and it's back. Oh.
I want to.
So did I just read for no reason? I mean, I could start over again. I literally just started. So. I can just start over. Oh, the chapter picture? Let's see. Ooh, that's the picture. Okay, here we go. Let's try this again. Chapter 36. The Flaw in the Plan. He was lying face down on the ground again. The smell of the forest filled his nostrils. He could feel the cold, hard ground beneath his cheek, and the hinge of his glasses, which had been knocked sideways by the fall, cutting into his temple. Every inch of him ached, and the place where the killing curse had hit him felt like the bruise of an ironclad punch. He did not stir, but remained exactly where he had fallen, with his left arm bent out at an awkward angle and his mouth gaping. He had expected to hear cheers of triumph and jubilation at his death, but instead hurried footsteps, whispers, and solicitous murmurs filled the air. "My lord! My lord!" It was Bellatrix's voice, and she spoke as if to a lover. Harry did not dare open his eyes, but allowed his other senses to explore his predicament. He knew that his wand was still stowed beneath his robes because he could feel it pressed between his chest and the ground. A slight cushioning effect in the area of his stomach told him that the invisibility cloak was also there, stuffed out of sight. "My lord!" "That will do," said Voldemort's voice. More footsteps. Several people were backing away from the same spot. Desperate to see what was happening and why, Harry opened his eyes by a millimeter. Voldemort seemed to be getting to his feet. Various Death Eaters were hurrying away from him, returning to the crowd lining the clearing. Bellatrix alone remained behind, kneeling beside Voldemort. Harry closed his eyes again and considered what he had seen. The Death Eaters had been huddled round Voldemort, who seemed to have fallen to the ground. Something had happened when he had hit Harry with the killing curse. Had Voldemort too collapsed? It seemed like it. And both of them had fallen briefly unconscious, and both of them had now returned. "My lord, let me—" "I do not require assistance," said Voldemort coldly, and though he could not see it, Harry pictured Bellatrix withdrawing a helpful hand. "The boy. Is he dead?" There was complete silence in the clearing. Nobody approached Harry, but he felt their concentrated gaze. It seemed to press him harder into the ground, and he was terrified a finger or an eyelid might twitch. "You," said Voldemort, and there was a bang and a small shriek of pain. "Examine him. Tell me whether he is dead." Harry did not know who had been sent to verify. He could only lie there with his heart thumping traitorously and wait to be examined, but at the same time noting, small comfort though it was, that Voldemort was wary of approaching him, that Voldemort suspected all had not gone to plan. Hands, softer than he had been expecting, touched Harry's face, pulled back an eyelid, crept beneath his shirt, down to his chest, and felt his heart. He could hear the woman's fast breathing, her long hair tickled his face. He knew that she could feel the steady pounding of life against his ribs. "Is Draco alive? Is he in the castle?" The whisper was barely audible. Her lips were an inch from his ear, her head bent so low that her long hair shielded his face from the onlookers. "Yes," he breathed back. He felt the hand on his chest contract. Her nails pierced him. Then it was withdrawn. She had sat up. "He is dead," Narcissa Malfoy called to the watchers. And now they shouted. Now they yelled in triumph and stamped their feet, and through his eyelids Harry saw bursts of red and silver light. red and silver light. Shoot into the air in celebration. Still feigning death on the ground, he understood. Narcissa knew that the only way she would be permitted to enter Hogwarts and find her son was as part of the conquering army. She no longer cared whether Voldemort won. "You see?" screeched Voldemort over the tumult. "Harry Potter is dead by my hand, and no man alive can threaten me now. Watch! Crucio!" Harry had been expecting it, knew his body would not be allowed to remain unsullied upon the forest floor. It must be subjected to humiliation to prove Voldemort's victory. He was lifted into the air, and it took all his determination to remain limp, yet the pain he expected did not come. He was thrown once, twice, 3 times into the air. His glasses flew off, and he felt his wand slide a little beneath his robes, but he kept himself floppy and lifeless, and when he fell to the ground for the last time, the clearing echoed with jeers and shrieks of laughter. "Now," said Voldemort, "we go to the castle and show them what has become of their hero. Who shall drag the body? Wait." There was a fresh outbreak of laughter, and after a few moments Harry felt the ground trembling beneath him. "You carry him," said Voldemort. "He will be nice and visible in your arms, will he not? Pick up your little friend, Hagrid. And the glasses. Put on the glasses. He must be recognizable." Someone slammed Harry's glasses back onto his face with deliberate force, but the enormous hands that lifted him into the air were exceedingly gentle. Harry could feel Hagrid's arms trembling with the force of his heaving sobs. Great tears splashed down upon him as Hagrid cradled Harry in his arms, and Harry did not dare, by movement or word, to intimate to Hagrid that all was not yet lost. "Move," Voldemort said, and Hagrid stumbled forward, forcing his way through the close-growing trees back through the forest. Branches caught at Harry's hair and robes, but he lay quiescent, his mouth lolling open, his eyes shut, and in the darkness, while the Death Eaters crowed all around them, and while Hagrid sobbed blindly, nobody looked to see whether a pulse beat in the exposed neck of Harry Potter. The 2 giants crashed along behind the Death Eaters. Harry could hear trees creaking and falling as they passed. They made so much din that birds rose shrieking into the sky, and even the jeers of the Death Eaters were drowned. The victorious procession marched on toward the open ground, and after a while Harry could tell, by the lightening of the darkness through his closed eyelids, that the trees were beginning to thin. "Bane!" Hagrid's unexpected bellow nearly forced Harry's eyes open. "Happy now, are you? That you didn't fight? You cowardly bunch of nags! Are you happy, Harry Potter's dead?" Hagrid could not continue, but broke down in fresh tears. Harry wondered how many centaurs were watching their procession pass. He dared not open his eyes to look. Some of the Death Eaters called insults at the centaurs as they left them behind. A little later, Harry sensed, by a freshening of the air, that they had reached the edge of the forest. "Stop!" Harry thought that Hagrid must have been forced to obey Voldemort's command, because he lurched a little. And now a chill settled over them where they stood, and Harry heard the rasping breath of the Dementors that patrolled the outer trees. They would not affect him now. The fact of his own survival burned inside him, a talisman against them, as though his father's stag kept guardian in his heart. Someone passed close by Harry, and he knew that it was Voldemort himself because he spoke a moment later, his voice magically magnified so that it swelled throughout the grounds, crashing upon Harry's eardrums. "Harry Potter is dead. He was killed as he ran away, trying to save himself while you lay down your lives for him. We bring you his body as proof that your hero is gone. The battle is won. You have lost half of your fighters. My Death Eaters outnumber you, and the boy who lived is finished. There must be no more war. Anyone who continues to resist, man, woman, or child, will be slaughtered, as will every member of their family. Come out of the castle now, kneel before me, and you shall be spared. Your parents and children, your brothers and sisters will live and be forgiven, and you will join me in the new world we shall build together." There was silence in the grounds and from the castle. Voldemort was so close to him that Harry did not dare open his eyes again. "Come," said Voldemort, and Harry heard him move ahead, and Hagrid was forced to follow. Now Harry opened his eyes a fraction, and saw Voldemort striding in front of them, wearing the great snake Nagini around his shoulders, now free of her enchanted cage. For Harry had no possibility of extracting the wand concealed under his robes without being noticed by the Death Eaters, who marched on either side of them through the slowly lightening darkness. "Harry," sobbed Hagrid. "Oh, Harry, Harry." Harry shut his eyes tight again. He knew that they were approaching the castle and strained his ears to distinguish, above the gleeful voice of the Death Eaters and their tramping footsteps, signs of life from those within. "Stop!" The Death Eaters came to a halt. Harry heard them spreading out in a line facing the open front doors of the school. He could see, even through his closed eyelids, the reddish glow that meant light streamed upon him from the entrance hall. He waited. Any moment the people for whom he had tried to die would see him, lying apparently dead, in Hagrid's arms. "No!" The scream was the more terrible because he had never expected or dreamed that Professor McGonagall could make such a sound. He heard another woman laughing nearby and knew that Bellatrix gloried in McGonagall's despair. He squinted again for a single second and saw the open doorway filling with people as the survivors of the battle came out onto the front steps to face their vanquishers and see the truth of Harry's death for themselves. He saw Voldemort standing a little in front of him, stroking Nagini's... What is that noise? Oh. What? Oh. Oh. It did it again. Oh, there it goes. Should I wait?
I don't know why YouTube gives us such a headache with this.
I don't know. Okay. I will keep going. Sorry. Okay, here we go. He saw Voldemort standing a little in front of him, stroking Nagini's head with a single white finger. He closed his eyes again. "No! No! Harry! Harry!" Ron's, Hermione's, and Ginny's voices were worse than McGonagall's. Harry wanted nothing more than to call back, yet he made himself lie silent, and their cries acted like a trigger, The crowd of survivors took up the cause, screaming and yelling abuse at the Death Eaters until... "Silence!" cried Voldemort, and there was a bang and a flash of bright light, and silence was forced upon them all. "It is over. Set him down, Hagrid, at my feet, where he belongs." Harry felt himself lowered onto the grass. "You see?" said Voldemort, and Harry felt him striding backward and forward right beside the place where he lay. "Harry Potter is dead. Do you understand now, deluded ones? He was nothing, ever, but a boy who relied on others to sacrifice themselves for him." "He beat you!" yelled Ron, and the charm broke, and the defenders of Hogwarts were shouting and screaming again, until a second, more powerful bang extinguished their voices once more. "He was killed while trying to sneak out of the castle grounds," said Voldemort, and there was a relish in his voice for the lie. "Killed while trying to save himself." But Voldemort broke off. Harry heard a scuffle and a shout, then another bang, a flash of light, and a grunt of pain. He opened his eyes an infinitesimal amount. Someone had broken free of the crowd and charged at Voldemort. Harry saw the figure hit the ground. Disarmed, Voldemort throwing the challenger's wand aside and laughing. "And who is this?" he said in his soft snake's hiss. "Who has volunteered to demonstrate what happens to those who continue to fight when the battle is lost?" Bellatrix gave a delighted laugh. "It is Neville Longbottom, my lord, the boy who has been giving the Carrow so much trouble. The son of the Aurors, remember?" "Ah, yes, I remember," said Voldemort, looking down at Neville, who was struggling back to his feet, unarmed and unprotected, standing in the no-man's land between the survivors and the Death Eaters. "But you're a pureblood, aren't you, my brave boy?" Voldemort asked Neville, who stood facing him, his empty hands curled into fists. "So what if I am?" said Neville loudly. "You show spirit and bravery, and you come of noble stock. You will make a very valuable Death Eater. We need your kind, Neville Longbottom." "I'll join you when hell freezes over," said Neville. "Dumbledore's army!" he shouted, and there was an answering cheer from the crowd, whom Voldemort's silencing charm seemed unable to hold. "Very well," said Voldemort, and Harry heard more danger in the silkiness of his voice than in the most powerful curse. "If that is your choice, Longbottom, we revert to the original plan. On your head," he said quietly. "Be it." Still watching through his lashes, Harry saw Voldemort wave his wand. Seconds later, out of one of the castle's shattered windows, something that looked like a misshapen bird flew through the half-light and landed in Voldemort's hand. He shook the mildewed object by its pointed end, and it dangled, empty and ragged. The sorting hat. "There will be no more sorting at Hogwarts School," said Voldemort. "There will be no more houses. The emblem, shield, and colours of my noble ancestor, Salazar Slytherin, will suffice for everyone. Won't they, Neville Longbottom?" He pointed his wand at Neville, who grew rigid and still, then forced the hat onto Neville's head so that it dipped down below his eyes. There were movements from the watching crowd in front of the castle, and as one, the Death Eaters raised their wands, holding the fighters of Hogwarts at bay. "Neville here is going to demonstrate what happens to anyone foolish enough to continue to oppose me," said Voldemort. And with a flick of his wand, he caused the sorting hat to burst into flames. Screams split the dawn, and Neville was aflame, rooted to the spot, unable to move. And Harry could not bear it. He must act. And then many things happened at the same moment. They heard uproar from the distant boundary of the school as what sounded like hundreds of people came swarming over the out-of-sight walls and pelted toward the castle, uttering loud war cries. At the same time, Grawp came lumbering round the side of the castle and yelled, "Agur!" His cry was answered by roars from Voldemort's giants. They ran at Grawp like bull elephants, making the earth quake. Then came hooves, and the twangs of bows and arrows were suddenly falling amongst the Death Eaters, who broke ranks, shouting their surprise. Harry pulled the invisibility cloak from his robes, swung it over himself, and sprang to his feet, as Neville moved too. In one swift, fluid... God, this moment is so good. This is so good. In one swift, fluid motion, Neville broke free of the body-bind curse upon him. The flaming hat fell off him, and he drew from its depths something silver with a glittering rubied handle. The slash of the silver... What? Did it die again?
Yeah.
What the heck? Oh my god. It ended. What is happening? Alright, do you want to just put in there? Hang on. Back again? I don't know. Um, I don't wanna keep reading again if it's just gonna...
I don't believe.
I'll just wait. First time we stream in months and then this happens. Right? So I think he doesn't feel the Cruciatus curse because he's just died. So he's just kind of inundated and protected himself with his sacrifice, so he's like immune to anything that Voldemort does to him. So Catherine is saying it's here, it's just a little laggy. It's all good now.
I guess we'll just keep going until you're done reading.
I guess. All right. Yeah, I'm so sorry, guys. I don't know. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. We're gonna give it a shot. Should I keep going? Okay. In one swift, fluid motion, Neville broke free of the body-bind curse upon him. The flaming hat fell off him, and he drew from its depths something silver with a glittering rubied handle. The slash of the silver blade could not be heard over the roar of the oncoming crowd, or the sounds of the clashing giants, or of the stampeding centaurs, and yet it seemed to draw every eye. With a single stroke, Neville sliced off the great snake's head, which spun high into the air, gleaming in the light flooding from the entrance hall. and Voldemort's mouth was open in a scream of fury that nobody could hear, and the snake's body thudded to the ground at his feet. Hidden beneath the invisibility cloak, Harry cast a shield charm between Neville and Voldemort before the latter could raise his wand. Then, over the screams and the roars and the thunderous stamps of the battling giants, Hagrid's yell came loudest of all. "Harry!" Hagrid shouted. "Where's Harry? Where's Harry?" Chaos reigned. The charging centaurs were scattering the Death Eaters. Everyone was fleeing the giant's stamping feet, and nearer thundered the reinforcements that had come from who knew where. Harry saw great ringed creatures soaring around the heads of Voldemort's giants, Thestrals and Buckbeak the Hippogriff scratching at their eyes, while Grawp punched and pummeled them. And now the wizards, defenders of Hogwarts and Death Eaters alike, were being forced back into the castle. Harry was shooting jinxes and curses at any Death Eater he could see, and they crumpled, not knowing what or who had hit them, and their bodies were trampled by the retreating crowd. Still hidden beneath the invisibility cloak, Harry was buffeted into the entrance hall. He was searching for Voldemort and saw him across the room, firing spells from his wand as he backed into the great hall, still screaming instructions to his followers as he sent curses flying left and right. Harry cast more shield charms, and Voldemort's would-be victims, Seamus Finnegan and Hannah Abbott, darted past him into the great hall, where they joined the fight already flourishing inside it. And now there were more, even more people storming up the front steps, and Harry saw Charlie Weasley overtake Horace Slughorn, who was still wearing his emerald pajamas. Oh yeah. They seemed to have returned at the head of what looked like the families and friends of every Hogwarts student who had remained to fight, along with the shopkeepers and homeowners of Hogsmeade. The centaurs, Bane, Ronan and Megorian, burst into the hall with a great clatter of hooves, as behind Harry the door that led to the kitchens was blasted off its hinges. The house elves of Hogwarts swarmed into the entrance hall, screaming and waving carving knives and cleavers, and at their head, the locket of Regulus Black bouncing on his chest, was Kreacher, his bullfrog's voice audible even above this din. "Fight! Fight! Fight for my master, defender of house elves! Fight the Dark Lord in the name of brave Regulus! Fight!" They were hacking and stabbing at the ankles and shins of Death Eaters, their tiny faces alive with malice, and everywhere Harry looked, Death Eaters were folding under sheer weight of numbers, overcome by spells, dragging arrows from wounds, stabbed in the leg by elves, or simply attempting to escape, but swallowed by the oncoming horde. But it was not over yet. Harry sped between duelers, past struggling prisoners, and into the great hall. Voldemort was in the center of the battle, and he was striking and smiting all within reach. Harry could not get a clear shot, but fought his way nearer, still invisible, and the great hall became more and more crowded as everyone who could walk forced their way inside. Harry saw Yaxley slammed to the floor by George and Lee Jordan, saw Dolohov fall with a scream at Flitwick's hands, saw Walden McNair thrown across the room by Hagrid, hit the stone wall opposite, and slide unconscious to the ground. He saw Ron and Neville bring down Fenrir Greyback, Aberforth stunning Rockwood, Arthur and Percy flooring Thickness, and Lucius and Narcissa Malfoy running through the crowd, not even attempting to fight, screaming for their son. Voldemort was now dueling McGonagall, Slughorn, and Kingsley all at once, and there was cold hatred in his eyes as they wove and ducked around him, unable to finish him. Bellatrix was still fighting too, 50 yards away from Voldemort, and like her master she dueled 3 at once. Hermione, Ginny and Luna, all battling their hardest, but Bellatrix was equal to them, and Harry's attention was diverted as a killing curse shot so close to Ginny that she missed death by an inch. He changed course, running at Bellatrix rather than Voldemort, but before he had gone a few steps he was knocked sideways. "Not my daughter, you bitch!" Mrs. Weasley threw off her cloak as she ran, freeing her arms. Bellatrix spun on the spot, roaring with laughter at the sight of her new challenger. "Out of my way!" shouted Mrs. Weasley to the 3 girls, and with a swipe of her wand she began to duel. Harry watched with terror and elation as Molly Weasley's wand slashed and twirled, and Bellatrix Lestrange's smile faltered and became a snarl. Jets of light flew from both wands, The floor around the witch's feet became hot and cracked. Both women were fighting to kill. "No!" Mrs. Weasley cried as a few students ran forward, trying to come to her aid. "Get back! Get back! She is mine!" Hundreds of people now lined the walls, watching the two fights. Voldemort and his three opponents, Bellatrix and Molly, and Harry stood invisible, torn between both, wanting to attack and yet to protect, unable to be sure that he would not hit the innocent. "What will happen to your children when I've killed you?" taunted Bellatrix, as mad as her master, capering as Molly's curses danced around her. "When Mummy's gone the same way as Freddy?" "You will never touch our children again!" screamed Mrs. Weasley. Bellatrix laughed, the same exhilarated laugh her cousin Sirius had given as he toppled backwards through the veil, and suddenly Harry knew what was going to happen before it did. Molly's curse soared beneath Bellatrix's outstretched arm and hit her squarely in the chest, directly over her heart. Bellatrix's gloating smile froze. Her eyes seemed to bulge. For the tiniest space of time she knew what had happened. And then she toppled, and the watching crowd roared, and Voldemort screamed. Harry felt as though he turned in slow motion. He saw McGonagall, Kingsley, and Slughorn blasted backward, flailing and writhing through the air as Voldemort's fury at the fall of his last, best lieutenant exploded with the force of a bomb. Voldemort raised his wand and directed it at Molly Weasley. "Protego!" roared Harry, and the shield charm expanded in the middle of the hall, and Voldemort stared around for the source as Harry pulled off the invisibility cloak at last. The yell of shock, the cheers, the screams on every side of "Harry! He's alive!" were stifled at once. The crowd was afraid, and silence fell abruptly and completely as Voldemort and Harry looked at each other and began, at the same moment, to circle each other. "I don't want anyone else to try and help," Harry said loudly, and in the total silence his voice carried like a trumpet call. "It's got to be like this. It's got to be me." Voldemort hissed. "Potter doesn't mean that," he said, his red eyes wide. "That isn't how he works, is it? Who are you going to use as a shield today, Potter?" "Nobody," Harry said simply. "There are no more Horcruxes. It's just you and me. Neither can live while the other survives, and one of us is about to leave for good." "One of us?" jeered Voldemort, and his whole body was taut as his red eyes stared, a snake that was about to strike. "You think it will be you, do you? The boy who has survived by accident, because Dumbledore was pulling the strings?" "Accident, was it, when my mother died to save me?" asked Harry. They were still moving sideways, both of them, in that perfect circle, maintaining the same distance from each other, and for Harry no face existed but Voldemort's. "Accident, when I decided to fight in that graveyard? Accident that I didn't defend myself tonight and still survived and returned to fight again?" "Accidents!" screamed Voldemort. But still he did not strike, and the watching crowd was frozen as if petrified, and of the hundreds in the hall, no one seemed to breathe but they two. "Accident and chance, and the fact that you crouched and snivelled behind the skirts of greater men and women and permitted me to kill them for you." "You won't be killing anyone else tonight," said Harry as they circled and stared into each other's eyes, green into red. "You won't be able to kill any of them ever again. Don't you get it? I was ready to die to stop you from hurting these people." "But you did not!" "I meant to, and that's what did it. I've done what my mother did. They're protected from you. Haven't you noticed how none of the spells you put on them are binding? You can't torture them. You can't touch them. You don't learn from your mistakes, Riddle, do you?" "You dare!" "Yes, I dare," said Harry. "I know things you don't know, Tom Riddle. I know lots of important things that you don't. Want to hear some before you make another big mistake?" Voldemort did not speak, but prowled in a circle, and Harry knew that he had kept him temporarily mesmerized and at bay, held back by the faintest possibility that Harry might indeed know a final secret. "Is it love again?" said Voldemort, his snake's face jeering. "Dumbledore's favourite solution? Love, which he claimed conquered death, though love did not stop him falling from the tower and breaking like an old waxwork. Love, which did not prevent me stamping out your mudblood mother like a cockroach, Potter. And nobody seems to love you enough to run forward this time and take my curse. So what will stop you dying now when I strike?" "Just one thing," said Harry, and still they circled each other, wrapped in each other, held apart by nothing but the last secret. "If it is not love that will save you this time," said Voldemort, "you must believe you have magic that I do not, or else a weapon more powerful than mine." "I believe both," said Harry, and he saw shock flit across the snake-like face, though it was instantly dispelled. Voldemort began to laugh, and the sound was more frightening than his screams. Humorless and insane, it echoed around the silent hall. "You think you know more magic than I do," he said. "Than I? Than Lord Voldemort, who has performed magic that Dumbledore himself never even dreamed of?" "Oh, he dreamed of it," said Harry. "But he knew more than you, knew enough not to do what you've done." "You mean he was weak?" screamed Voldemort. "Too weak to dare, too weak to take what might have been his, what will be mine." "No, he was cleverer than you," said Harry. "A better wizard and a better man." "I brought about the death of Albus Dumbledore." "You thought you did," said Harry, "but you were wrong." For the first time, the watching crowd stirred as the hundreds of people around the walls drew breath as one. "Dumbledore is dead!" Voldemort hurled the words at Harry as though they would cause him unendurable pain. "His body decays in the marble tomb on the grounds of the castle. I've seen it, Potter, and he will not return." "Yes, Dumbledore's dead," said Harry calmly. "But you didn't have him killed. He chose his own manner of dying, chose it months before he died, arranged the whole thing with the man you thought was your servant." "What childish dream is this?" said Voldemort. But still he did not strike, and his red eyes did not waver from Harry's. "Severus Snape wasn't yours," said Harry. "Snape was Dumbledore's. Dumbledore's from the moment you started hunting down my mother. And you never realized it, because of the thing you can't understand. You never saw Snape cast a Patronus, did you, Riddle?" Voldemort did not answer. They continued to circle each other like wolves about to tear each other apart. "Snape's Patronus was a doe," said Harry. "The same as my mother's, because he loved her for nearly all his life, from the time when they were children. You should have realized," he said as he saw Voldemort's nostrils flare. "He asked you to spare her life, didn't he?" "He desired her, that's all," sneered Voldemort. "But when she had gone, he agreed that there were other women, and of purer blood, worthier of him." "Of course he told you that," said Harry. "But he was Dumbledore's spy from the moment you threatened her, and he's been working against you ever since. Dumbledore was already dying when Snape finished him." "It matters not!" shrieked Voldemort, who had followed every word with rapt attention, but now let out a cackle of mad laughter. "It matters not whether Snape was mine or Dumbledore's, or what petty obstacles they tried to put in my path. I crushed them as I crushed your mother, Snape's supposed great love. Oh, but it all makes sense, Potter, and in ways that you do not understand. Dumbledore was trying to keep the Elder Wand from me. He intended that Snape should be the true master of the wand. But I got there ahead of you, little boy. I reached the wand before you could get your hands on it. I understood the truth before you caught up. I killed Severus Snape 3 hours ago, and the Elder Wand, the Death Stick, the Wand of Destiny, is truly mine. Dumbledore's last plan went wrong, Harry Potter." "Yeah, it did," said Harry. "You're right. But before you try to kill me, I'd advise you to think about what you've done. Think, and try for some remorse, Riddle." "What is this?" Of all the things that Harry had said to him, beyond any revelation or taunt, nothing had shocked Voldemort like this. Harry saw his pupils contract to thin slits, saw the skin around his eyes whiten. "It's your one last chance," said Harry. "It's all you've got left. I've seen what you'll be otherwise. Be a man. Try. Try for some remorse." "You dare," said Voldemort again. "Yes, I dare," said Harry, "because Dumbledore's last plan hasn't backfired on me at all. It's backfired on you, Riddle." Voldemort's hand was trembling on the Elder Wand, and Harry gripped Draco's very tightly. The moment he knew was seconds away. The wand still isn't working properly for you because you murdered the wrong person. Severus Snape was never the true master of the Elder Wand. He never defeated Dumbledore. He killed... Aren't you listening? Snape never beat Dumbledore. Dumbledore's death was planned between them. Dumbledore intended to die undefeated. The wand's last true master. If all had gone as planned, the wand's power would have died with him, because it had never been won from him. But then, Potter, Dumbledore as good as gave me the wand. Voldemort's voice shook with malicious pleasure. I stole the wand from its last master's tomb. I removed it against his last master's wishes. Its power is mine. You still don't get it, Riddle, do you? Possessing the wand isn't enough. Holding it, using it, doesn't really make it yours. Didn't you listen to Ollivander? The wand chooses the wizard. The Elder Wand recognized a new master before Dumbledore died, someone who'd never even laid a hand on it. The new master removed the wand from Dumbledore against his will, never realizing exactly what he had done, or that the world's most dangerous wand had given him its allegiance. Voldemort's chest rose and fell rapidly, and Harry could feel the curse coming, feel it building inside the wand pointed at his face. The true master of the Elder Wand was Draco Malfoy. Blank shock showed in Voldemort's face for a moment, but then it was gone. But what does it matter? He said softly. Even if you are right, Potter, it makes no difference to you and me. You no longer have the Phoenix Wand. We duel on skill alone, and after I have killed you, I can attend to Draco Malfoy. But you're too late, said Harry. You've missed your chance. I got there first. I overpowered Draco weeks ago. I took his wand from him. Harry twitched the hawthorn wand, and he felt the eyes of everyone in the hall upon it. So it all comes down to this, doesn't it? Whispered Harry. Does the wand in your hand know its last master was disarmed? Because if it does, I am the true master of the Elder Wand. A red gold glow burst suddenly across the enchanted sky above them as an edge of dazzling sun appeared over the sill of the nearest window. The light hit both of their faces at the same time, so that Voldemort's was suddenly a flaming blur. Harry heard the high voice shriek as he too yelled his best hope to the heavens, pointing Draco's wand. Avada Kedavra! Expelliarmus! The bang was like a cannon blast, and the golden flames that erupted between them at the dead center of the circle they'd been treading marked the point where the spells collided. Harry saw Voldemort's green jet meet his own spell, saw the Elder Wand fly high, dark against the sunrise, spinning across the enchanted ceiling like the head of Nagini, spinning through the air toward the master it would not kill, who had come to take full possession of it at last. And Harry, with the unerring skill of the Seeker, caught the wand in his free hand as Voldemort fell backwards, arms splayed, the slit of the scarlet eyes rolling upward. Tom Riddle hit the floor with a mundane finality, his body feeble and shrunken, the white hands empty, the snake-like face vacant and unknowing. Voldemort was dead, killed by his own rebounding curse, and Harry stood with two wands in his hand, staring down at his enemy's shell. One shivering second of silence, the shock of the moment suspended. And then the tumult broke around Harry as the screams and the cheers and the roars of the watchers rent the air. The fierce new sun dazzled the windows as they thundered toward him, and the first to reach him were Ron and Hermione, and it was their arms that were wrapped round him, their incomprehensible shouts that deafened him. Then Ginny, Neville and Luna were there, and then all the Weasleys, and Hagrid, and Kingsley, and McGonagall, and Flitwick and Sprout, and Harry could not hear a word that anyone was shouting, nor tell whose hands were seizing him, pulling him, trying to hug some part of him, hundreds of them pressing in, all of them determined to touch the boy who lived, the reason it was all over at last. The sun rose steadily over Hogwarts, and the great hall blazed with life and light. Harry was an indispensable part of the mingled outpourings of jubilation and mourning, of grief and celebration. They wanted him there with them, their leader and symbol, their saviour and their guide, and that he had not slept, that he craved the company of only a few of them, seemed to occur to no one. He must speak to the bereaved, clasp their hands, witness their tears, receive their thanks, hear the news now creeping in from every quarter as the morning drew on, that the imperious up and down the country had come back to themselves, that Death Eaters were fleeing or else being captured, that the innocent of Azkaban were being released that very moment, and that Kingsley Shacklebolt had been named temporary Minister of Magic. They moved Voldemort's body and lay it in a chamber off the hall, away from the bodies of Fred, Tonks, Lupin, Colin Creevey, and 50 others who died fighting him. McGonagall had replaced the house tables, but no one was sitting according to house any more. All were jumbled together, teachers and pupils, ghosts and parents, centaurs and house elves, and Firenze lay recovering in a corner, and Grawp peered in through a smashed window, and people were throwing food into his laughing mouth. After a while, exhausted and drained, Harry found himself sitting on a bench beside Luna. "I would want some peace and quiet if it were me," she said. "I'd love some," he replied. "I'll distract them all," she said. "Use your cloak." And before he could say another word, she had cried, "Ooh, look, a blibbering humdinger!" and pointed out of the window. Everyone who heard looked round, and Harry slid the cloak up over himself and got to his feet. Now he could move through the hall without interference. He spotted Ginny 2 tables away. She was sitting with her head on her mother's shoulder. There would be time to talk, hours and days, and maybe years in which to talk. He saw Neville, the Sword of Gryffindor, lying beside his plate as he ate, surrounded by a knot of fervent admirers. Along the aisle between the tables he walked, and he spotted the 3 Malfoys, huddled together as though unsure whether or not they were supposed to be there, but no one was paying them any attention. Everywhere he looked, he saw families reunited, and finally he saw the 2 whose company he craved most. "It's me," he muttered, crouching down between them. "Will you come with me?" They stood up at once, and together, he, Ron, and Hermione left the great hall. Great chunks were missing from the marble staircase, part of the balustrade was gone, and rubble and bloodstains occurred every few steps as they climbed. Somewhere in the distance they could hear Peeves zooming through the corridors, singing a victory song of his own composition. I need a drink of water. "We did it, we bashed them, we Potty's the one, and Voldy's gone mouldy, so now let's have fun." "Really gives a feeling of the scope and tragedy of the thing, doesn't it?" said Ron, pushing open a door to let Harry and Hermione through. Happiness would come, Harry thought, but at the moment it was muffled by exhaustion, and the pain of losing Fred and Lupin and Tonks pierced him like a physical wound every few steps. Most of all, he felt the most stupendous relief and a longing to sleep. But first he owed an explanation to Ron and Hermione, who had stuck with him for so long and who deserved the truth. Painstakingly he recounted what he'd seen in the Pensieve and what had happened in the forest, and they had not even begun to express all their shock and amazement when at last they arrived at the place to which they'd been walking, though none of them had mentioned their destination. Since he had last seen it, the gargoyle guarding the entrance to the headmaster's study had been knocked aside. It stood lopsided, looking a little punch-drunk, and Harry wondered whether it would be able to to distinguish passwords anymore. "Can we go up?" he asked the gargoyle. "Feel free," groaned the statue. They clambered over him and onto the spiral stone staircase that moved slowly upward like an escalator. Harry pushed open the door at the top. He had one brief glimpse of the stone pensieve on the desk where he had left it, and then an ear-splitting noise made him cry out, thinking of curses and returning Death Eaters and the rebirth of Voldemort. But it was applause. All around the walls, the headmasters and headmistresses of Hogwarts were giving him a standing ovation. They waved their hats and in some cases their wigs. They reached through their frames to grip each other's hands. They danced up and down on the chairs in which they'd been painted. Dilys Derwent sobbed unabashedly. Dexter Fortescue was waving his ear trumpet, and Phineas Nigelis called out in his high, reedy voice, "And let it be noted that Slytherin House played its part. Let our contribution not be forgotten." But Harry had eyes only for the man who stood in the largest portrait directly behind the headmaster's chair. Tears were sliding down from behind the half-moon spectacles into the long silver beard, and the pride and the gratitude emanating from him filled Harry with the same balm as Phoenix song. At last Harry held up his hands, and the portraits fell respectfully silent, beaming and mopping their eyes, and waiting eagerly for him to speak. He directed his words at Dumbledore, however, and chose them with enormous care. Exhausted and bleary-eyed though he was, he must make one last effort, seeking one last piece of advice. "The thing that was hidden in the snitch," he began. "I dropped it in the forest. I don't know exactly where, but I'm not going to go looking for it again. Do you agree?" "My dear boy, I do," said Dumbledore, while his fellow pictures looked confused and curious. "A wise and courageous decision, but no less than I would have expected of you. Does anyone else know where it fell?" "No one," said Harry, and Dumbledore nodded his satisfaction. "I'm going to keep Ignotus's present, though," said Harry, and Dumbledore beamed. "Oh, but of course, Harry. It is yours forever until you pass it on." "And then there's this." Harry held up the Elder Wand, and Ron and Hermione looked at it with a reverence that, even in his befuddled and sleep-deprived state, Harry did not like to see. "I don't want it," said Harry. "What?" said Ron. "Are you mental?" "I know it's powerful," said Harry wearily, "but I was happier with mine, so—" He rummaged in the pouch hung round his neck and pulled out the two halves of the holly, still just connected by the finest thread of phoenix feather. Hermione had said that they could not be repaired, that the damage was too severe. All he knew was that if this did not work, nothing would. He laid the broken wand upon the headmaster's desk, touched it with the very tip of the Elder Wand, and said, "Reparo." As his wand resealed, red sparks flew out of its end. Harry knew that he had succeeded. He picked up the holly and phoenix wand and felt a sudden warmth in his fingers, as though wand and hand were rejoicing at their reunion. "I'm putting the Elder Wand," he told Dumbledore, who was watching him with enormous affection and admiration, "back where it came from. It can stay there. If I die a natural death like Ignotus, its power will be broken, won't it? The previous master will never have been defeated. That'll be the end of it." Dumbledore nodded. They smiled at each other. "Are you sure?" said Ron. There was the faintest trace of longing in his voice as he looked at the Elder Wand. "I think Harry's right," said Hermione quietly. "That wand's more trouble than it's worth," said Harry. And quite honestly, he turned away from the painted portraits, thinking now only of the four-poster bed lying waiting for him in Gryffindor Tower, and wondering whether Creature might bring him a sandwich there. "I've had enough trouble for a lifetime."
And there it is.
And there it is.
The death of Voldemort.
The death of Voldemort. And I guess technically the end of the book?
Technically the end of the stream just ended there.
Oh my lord. Oh my lord. I am so sorry, everyone, that this has been like the stream from hell.
I don't even know why, because I've looked at everything. I've looked through Task Manager. I've looked through all the log files. Like, here, OBS says that frames missed due to rendering lag. 0 out of the 200,000 we dropped. Skip frames due to encoding lag. 0 out of the 200,000 we've dropped. We're streaming at the correct bit rate. It hasn't dropped. Everything is good. My computer says that this should be fine. So I don't know.
It could also be the Cruciatus curse isn't working, maybe because the wand is not his. It could be a combination of things. The Elder Wand isn't technically his. He's already died. So maybe it just doesn't affect him anymore because he's died. You know, maybe it's a combination of things. That's why the Cruciatus curse doesn't affect him.
I don't know. Maybe it's because he's dead inside that moment.
Oh.
Could it be something with the protection?
It could be
Just granted
something.
everyone
Yeah.
protection.
And he's protected
He'd
too.
give himself a little bit, you know?
So Timothy says the stream has been flawless for him. I don't know, guys. I literally don't know, but that was going to be like a deep dive where we stop and talk about things, but the stream has been cutting in and out so much, so I guess now
Just wanted to get through it.
I guess we could talk about it now.
I don't know. Maybe I'll play with it. We'll do like another stream. I don't know, whenever you feel like we can do another stream.
I think Thursdays are good.
Okay. I was going to say like one this weekend or something sooner. Just to test it. It can just be a short one. If you wanted to do that.
Yeah, we can see if we have time this weekend to just play with it a little bit.
And test it. Maybe if that gives us more trouble, because it seems like the stream on YouTube is just getting worse and worse. Maybe we'll start doing it on Twitch and then just re-uploading
to YouTube.
the video onto YouTube.
Yeah, we could do that. Try to make this stream seamless and nice for everyone. I know, I love the Peeves song. The Peeves song is so great. Voldy's gone moldy. So now let's have fun.
The one time everyone can agree that they love Peeves.
Who doesn't like Peeves?
Probably a lot of the kids in the school.
Oh, okay, maybe.
The professors.
Okay.
Definitely Filch.
Okay. All right, you have a point. You have a point. That's fair.
We like it because we don't actually have to deal with them. We just see the
That's true.
chaos.
We don't actually have to. See, that's kind of where I go with it, Tim. I tend to think like the power of the love and the sacrifice was just so strong that whatever Voldemort does just won't affect him anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I like to think that that's what it is as well.
Maybe it's like kind of like how to combat the Dementors is to think of like really good thoughts. Maybe it's like that, you know, strong love combats the Cruciatus. Or maybe Voldemort just wasn't really, you know, feeling it. You know?
Oh, no, I think Voldemort was feeling it.
Maybe he was still in shock. Like, oh my God, did it
Voldemort
work?
was feeling it. I mean, there is a line in the chapter where it says that the Dementors didn't touch him anymore. The feeling he had inside of the sacrifice and having died and come back and like all of that was like a Patronus beating inside of his heart.
That's what I mean. Maybe like the, you know, his love was so great that it, you know, combated all the evilness.
This is true. Timothy says, well, Voldemort was scared, and if Neville has taught us anything, doing magic when you're scared doesn't yield good results.
Yeah, that's true.
Bellatrix does say you need to mean it. I think once Voldemort got over the initial shock of what happened, because he still doesn't really know what happened. But I think once he gets over the initial like freak out of it, he's definitely there to like humiliate Harry's body.
Oh, 100%. Like, you definitely get that when he's like, put on the glasses so everyone knows.
Yep. Yep.
I want him to be recognizable.
Yeah. And I think, Voldemort's definitely the type to like play with his food before he eats it, kind of a guy.
Like a cat.
Yeah.
I think he would have fed Harry to Nagini. Like, what do you think he would have done with Harry?
Like
if
his
Harry
body
was dead, yeah. You think he would pull like Star Wars, freeze him in stone or something?
like memorialize his
Yeah.
body. He'd want to humiliate his body in every way possible.
Just like write in bad handwriting, the boy who died.
The boy who died. I don't know if he'd feed him to Nagini. I guess I could maybe see him feeding him to Nagini, but
Like, that's what I was thinking. Like, he would feed anyone else to Nagini, but I
But
feel like
Harry-
he must have had some like special idea,
or what he wanted
like
to do
what
to
he's
Harry.
gonna do with Harry.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could get really creative with it, but that would be
Oh,
gross.
that's why I was asking you, just because you're the serial killer.
I know.
And he wear Harry's skin around the house.
I don't think he'd do that. He's not that kind of serial killer. I could see him like putting I could see him like putting the corpse on display.
Yeah. Yeah, like Timothy said, he needed everyone to see he conquered Harry. So yeah. That's what I mean. I feel like it'd be a fine balance, because I think he would want to put him on display and show, the boy who almost lived, versus he doesn't want to like make a shrine as a martyr for him either.
No.
Although maybe he doesn't think that way. He's just kind of like, I don't care.
Maybe he would
I'll
do
just
what
kill
he
you
does with
too.
everybody else. He'll make him into an Inferius and put him in the cave.
Make him into an inferior and just have him follow him as like his servant
Yeah.
or something, probably.
He could do that. I could see him doing that. He's so humiliating. Make him into his own
Always
personal-
make him wear the glasses so everyone knows.
and just watch it and just see his corpse just slowly rot.
Mm-hmm.
I could see it. Does the body of the slain get used in the Horcrux making?
No one's really sure.
We don't know.
One of the theories, I think.
There are some theories that suggest
that.
yes, because some theories suggest that you have to like cannibalize part of the dead person, which doesn't make sense, because all the autopsies always say there's no blemishes or magical tampering of the bodies.
Mm-hmm.
But we really don't know. Oh, thank you. It's such a good chapter. I forgot when the chapter ends. Oops, I pushed the space bar. I'm sorry. I didn't do it on purpose. When Neville kills Nagini, it's so badass.
I know.
It's just so badass. Neville, what a brave dude too.
Mm.
And he still he defied Voldemort. He fought Voldemort in his own way. So I guess like the prophecy kind of pertained to Neville too.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Trelawney. She knows what she's talking about.
Trelawney does know what she's talking about.
So what was your deep dives that you were going to do in this
I didn't
chapter?
even know. I didn't even know. I just was like, well, we should read this chapter again because today is the day that Voldemort died. And honestly, I got so wrapped up in the emotion of it that wasn't thinking about anything. What did you have any thoughts while we were reading it, or were you just trying to make sure the stream didn't break?
I was just trying to figure. Well, I couldn't stop the stream from breaking. I was just trying to figure out what was wrong with it. I was going through everything, and it's like all the data is telling me everything is fine, but everything is not fine. No, I think the biggest thing was like I caught the end there, and I'm just like, I wonder what he would have done in an alternate universe.
Who?
Voldemort with like Harry.
Oh, what would he have done with his corpse?
Yeah,
Humiliated it to no end.
probably. And hey, you know, Voldemort could have won.
Maybe he would have made a Horcrux out of the glasses.
Ew. But yeah, you're probably right, actually.
Ew, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
I could see his glasses being the...
With your theory of how Horcruxes are made, I just, ew.
Yeah, well...
Not cool.
I mean, nothing Voldemort does is cool. So, everything he does is pretty awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has Voldemort ever done anything throughout the entire series where it's been like, okay, Voldemort can fly. That is cool. That's legit cool.
Yeah, fair enough. And he's only like one of what, 2, 3 people that can do it?
2 people that can do it.
Him and Snape.
Him and Snape.
Who did it first? Snape or Voldemort?
Mm,
I think Voldemort taught Snape, or did Snape teach Voldemort?
I feel like Voldemort did it first.
Do you think so?
I just don't think that doesn't seem like a thing Snape would want to learn how to do.
Who wouldn't want to learn how to fly?
I know, but I just don't feel like that's a Snape, like, I feel like that's a Voldemort learn how to do thing. I don't know. I feel like Voldemort figured it out first. Voldy did save Bellatrix from the Ministry of Magic in the 5th book. Okay, that was a good thing. He protected his crew one time.
Voldemort is a parcel tongue. That's pretty cool. That is cool.
Okay, that's cool.
Are there other like animal speaking people? Like there are parcel tongues that can speak to snakes. Like is there a lineage of people who could like speak to cats or?
Not that we know of. Maybe Mrs.
Oh
Fig.
my, who was it? The guy who led the rats.
The Pied Piper?
Pied Piper, yeah.
Oh, does he speak
Maybe
rodent
he could.
tongue?
Yeah.
Or something?
Rodal's tongue.
Lupin howls.
Maybe he was a wizard and yeah, he could talk to the rats.
Maybe. That's possible.
You think St. Patrick was a Slytherin?
Ooh. Probably. You don't want to live
Yeah.
here, guys. Let's go. Trust me. Not nice here. Let's get out of here.
They don't like snakes here. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, Voldemort would also get the invisibility cloak if Harry was really dead.
Oh, that's true.
Yep.
Would Voldemort use it? I feel like he's more of a he wants people to see him type thing.
Type of guy.
Yeah.
Speaking to snakes is definitely a biblical allusion to. I definitely think that's what it is. It's a temptation and the serpent kind of a thing. 100%.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, Voldemort is very evil.
Very evil.
But I was just thinking, like,
Melanie,
you have
have
parcel
you-
tongues.
Melanie, have you ever read the His Dark Materials books? I'm just curious. There's Mermish and
Or, like-
Gobbledygook, so maybe animals can communicate. Maybe there is somebody out there who can, like, Eliza
That's true.
Thornberry.
Can mermaids speak to fish? You know, is like little mermaid real? Well, real in the Harry Potter universe.
Right, like can the mermaids talk to the giant squid?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe.
And do you think
I love that part about Creature coming out and like all the house elves just attacking the Death Eater's feet and ankles. That's great. So the only reason I ask Melanie is because there is, I feel like you as a researcher with such a deep base of knowledge in Christianity, there is so much of it is in his Dark Materials that I feel like you would just be in research connection heaven with
picking everything apart.
Oh, I think you'd really like it. I think you'd like them a lot. And there's only 3. I just think they'd be really up your alley.
You know,
now that I'm thinking about it, there are some parallels to this fight and the book 1 fight.
In the parody fight in my head where Slughorn takes a Felix Felicis and is out there fighting in his jammies.
Yeah.
I also picture like Davi out there with just a bunch of socks with stones in them, just beating the crap out of the Death Eaters.
Oh, if only.
Like prison style.
If only.
I know, if only.
That would have been great.
Right?
I think you should, Melanie. I think you would find it very fascinating, and I think you would find the themes of and the ideas about religion and God would be very. I think you'd find them very interesting. And then after you read them, we can talk about them forever, because I think you and I can have some great discussions about those books. I don't want to spoil anything, but if you think there's some deep Christian themes in Harry Potter, hold on to your sorting hat for his Dark Materials.
I do need to read those books.
You do need to read those books.
I've been stuck on Walter Moore's though.
Anybody ever heard of a book called Tender is the Flesh? Because oh my god,
Ugh.
I'm almost done with it.
I haven't even read it. Just what you described. I'm like, yeah, this isn't for me.
It's dark. It's like, I think Voldemort would read it and be like, this is fun. I like this.
Ooh,
what a
I
comedy.
have some ideas.
Yeah, this is a comedy.
I like that one.
Yeah.
No, parallels.
Parallels.
I mean, I saw one.
All right, go ahead.
Harry at the end, he's very tired and just wants to take a nap. When we first meet Harry in the first chapter, he's sleeping in his basket.
Well, and Hagrid carries him.
Yep.
And
Hagrid's crying.
And Hagrid's crying. And in this chapter, Hagrid's carrying him, and he's dead.
He's carrying him after Voldemort has killed a Potter.
After Voldemort has killed a Potter. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, allegedly.
Mm-hmm. It's another Harry Voldemort fight with some conversation. Not quite the monologue that we get in book 4. This time it was like Harry actually monologuing, not Voldemort.
You know what the most unbelievable thing is about all the flashbacks when Voldemort kills Harry's parents? It always just shows that it happened so quick. Voldemort walked in, killed his dad, went upstairs, killed his mom, and it all happened.
Yeah.
You know that whole sequence took like an hour and a half, right? Voldemort had to go in, give his dad a speech. No, sit down. Let me finish first. Kill him, then go upstairs and talk to his mom for like 6 hours.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm like, all right, I better finish up.
Let's see, what else? Hagrid, Dumbledore, and McGonagall are there.
Mm-hmm.
Dumbledore in portrait form, but still.
In spirit.
In spirit. Am I because I'm just tired that I'm not thinking of anymore. I feel like I heard. The during the first time Voldemort and Harry like fight in Philosopher's Stone, they have this whole conversation about power and those too weak to seek it. You know, Voldemort says that whole thing: there is no good and evil, there's only power, and those too weak to seek it, come join me. And then and kind of there's the same kind of tone in what Voldemort's saying here. Like, no, I didn't misunderstand anything. Y'all are just weak. And I've pushed the boundaries of magic further than anyone else. And Harry's like, no, you dumb, Tom, you dumb. You done goofed about wands, dude. But it kind of has that same.
Oh, another parallel.
Mm.
We learn about a mother dying to protect, or not dying in this case, but fighting to protect their child.
Oh, yeah. Molly Weasley.
Molly and Lily.
Yeah, that's a parallel. That's a good parallel. Except Molly kills her attacker.
Yeah.
To be fair, Molly had more of an advantage than Lily did.
Mm-hmm.
Molly had a wand.
Yeah.
That helped. We don't know where
And
Lily's wand
you know,
was.
the plot armor love protection.
Played a role. Played a role. There's talk about that. What happened that night. Harry tries to explain about how he's done what his mother's done. And that also parallels to 4. As they talk about it in 4 as well. The biggest parallel is using the disarming spell.
That's just a parallel to like every scene that Harry uses magic ever.
Anytime Harry fights anyone, it's always Expelliarmus.
Exactly.
Every time. Pretty much.
You know, everyone thinks that it's just his favorite spell. It's the only one he remembers.
What does Lupin say? It's become your signature move, Harry.
Harry Expelliarmus Potter.
That's right. Who taught him that one? Snape.
Lockhart was there too.
Lockhart did not teach him that spell. Don't even.
Look, read Lockhart's next book. You'll see.
Is it gonna be written with joined writing?
Maybe. Maybe feels like showing off.
If he feels like showing off, that's fair.
Might even have some crayon illustrations in there.
Ooh, special editions. My lord. I think it's...
That's right. Keep it stupid simple. Hermione's out here trying to learn everything. Harry's like, why would I learn anything else? I'm just learning the one.
I've done the one. Nailed it. Done the one. I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it. It worked. Well, then you have Voldemort doing all kinds of whatever he's doing.
Yeah.
He did a lot of things.
You know, I thought of the Mortal Kombat movie where
the new one?
yeah.
Okay.
And Liu Kang's just doing like the leg sweep things, just spamming it.
Oh.
I'm like, that's what Harry is. He's the one who just button mashes and spams the one move.
That's how Harry plays video games.
Just, yeah. Playing Street Fighter, just Hadouken, Hadouken, Hadouken.
You know, I feel like by contrast, Hermione is sitting there trying to remember combos.
Yeah.
Like trying to push all of that, and Harry's just like, nope. There's a move.
And Ron's just there going over and just unplugging Harry's controller. Technically, he's right. It's a good way to win, but
There's a move in Marvel vs. Capcom. You play as Gambit, where you like charge everything up or whatever, and you like throw all the cards out, and it like drains half of your life, the one move or whatever, and you could just
I don't
spam
remember
it.
that one.
You could just spam it over and over and over, and like just destroy people. So if you ever played Marvel vs. Capcom, somebody picks Gambit, you're like, oh Jesus Christ, I don't even want to play.
I played Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and I'm not playing that again. I was terrible at it.
They were fun until somebody chose to play as Gambit.
I love how this kind of came full circle, because I didn't make the thumbnail look like Mortal Kombat thinking that it would come back
would
to
actually-
this, but it actually worked out.
It did. Would have been badass if he killed Voldemort with Snape's curse. A nice tribute with Sanctum Sempra. We need the Harry Potter melee
It would be great, I'm telling you.
fighter game. I would love a Harry Potter fighter game.
Warner Brothers owns Mortal Kombat. They own Harry Potter. Make it happen, Warner Brothers.
No, they're too busy saying, we're going to make a Batgirl movie. Just kidding. No, we're not. Was it Batgirl that they were like teasing, and then they're like, actually, no, we're not going to.
I don't know.
Whatever the hell they've been doing.
You know what? That actually, it might happen. Not gonna lie.
Guess
because
what?
they
I don't know if I care.
just no, not the Batgirl movie.
Oh.
I was gonna say the fighting thing. 'Cause
Okay.
I just remember they have that one game out. It's like Smash Brothers. Oh, what was it?
The Royale game that you Battle Royale or whatever. Is it the one with all the like Arya Stark and everybody?
Yeah. You fought as Arya Stark, and it was like the DC heroes and stuff.
And Bugs Bunny in there too.
Yeah, and Bugs Bunny. I'm just like, oh, you know what? It's actually a possibility. We might see Harry Potter.
Yeah, but I want to see like a Harry Potter exclusive. Like you got like Harry Potter characters to choose from that you fight. Just other Harry Potter characters.
Who would win?
Yeah, who's got the like, and you could come up with some like cool special moves.
I can see it.
Hermione could be potentially devastating.
I feel like Ginny would be the most devastating.
Ginny would be like. Do you think Ginny would be more of like a nightmare, or a who's the guy with the big staff that can hit you from like 30 feet away? The hell is his name from Soul Calibur?
I don't remember. I know who you're talking about though. No, but I was thinking. I don't know who to compare Neville to in a fighting game,
Or
but
would she
all
be
I'm
more
thinking of is
like
Neville would
Mira,
be like
or I want to say Ty Lee, and that's from Avatar. I can't think of anyone's names right now.
Neville would be like the magic carp. Completely useless, but it has like the one move where he gets to use the Sword of Gryffindor. It's like
And it just
annihilate you.
I got yeah, we were just saying we'd love a Harry Potter fighting video game. I'm trying to imagine Arya Stark talking to Bugs Bunny. What's up, boy? I'm not a boy. Oh my god, what if Voldemort had a move where he could... This is gross. Why am I saying this? I'm going to say it. What if Voldemort had a move where he could shove Nagini down your throat and then like make you explode?
Oh, that would be his finisher.
Right? That'd be cool.
His fatality.
Just Nagini just...
We're doing the heavy lifting for Warner Brothers.
What are we
on
doing? Come on, we got good ideas.
Okay, but anyways, parallels. You're crying.
Because I'm just picturing in a video game format, Voldemort like shoots his wand out, and like Nagini just shoots out like fucking the confetti snakes in the can, and just zoop, and there's explodes. and then you're dead. I like that one.
Oh, that one's not bad. That one's not bad.
The end animation could be he collects you as a Horcrux.
Oh yeah.
That'd be great. Why was that so funny to me? I don't know. That wasn't that funny, but I thought I'm picturing it in my head. It looks really funny.
I'm picturing in the old like 16-bit.
A little bit,
format,
yeah,
I guess.
like a Street Fighter, original Street Fighter. It's very funny. I'm sorry, everyone. Oh, okay. Okay. Someone's tired. Maybe. Parallels. Okay. Katie's gonna watch this tomorrow and be like, I've thought of all these parallels, and I'm gonna read it and go, oh my god, I didn't think of any of these.
I feel like there's got to be one with.
That would require me getting on Twitter though, and I don't know if I want to get on the Twitter.
I feel like there's got to be one with. It's not Twitter. It's X.
Oh, here's a cool like kind of reverse parallel. When Neville is sorted into Gryffindor, the hat takes forever to figure it out. In book 1, Neville puts on. Well, he doesn't put the sorting hat on. When Neville gets the hat shoved on him, he's so Gryffindor that he pulls the sword out of the hat.
Yeah.
That's a 1-7 parallel right there.
Okay.
There we go.
All right.
I got one.
I feel like there's got to be one with Draco's mom. I can't think of it.
I mean, he mentions her in the first book in Diagon Alley.
Maybe that's a better parallel to like the Lily thing. You know, she's putting herself at risk for her son.
Yeah, it's
against Voldemort.
I think it's
the risk of death.
Yeah, it's a connection to what Lily did for Harry. She is willing to betray everything for one chance to go find Draco.
Yeah.
The power of her mother's love. 100%. I mean, the stone, the resurrection stone, it's an important object.
That isn't in this chapter, though.
He mentions it, like he dropped it. I mean, it's a book 7, book 1 parallel, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you've got the Sorcerer's Stone, which makes you live forever.
Yeah.
And this one, like, kind of resurrects dead people.
Not really.
So I said kind of. It, like, makes a hologram kind of ghost impression thing.
It's when your mom says, we have a Sorcerer's Stone at home. It's the Sorcerer's Stone you get off of Temu.
No, it never is revealed like where their house was. Unfortunately.
Trying to think. I don't know. You're the parallel whisperer here.
Oh, Frank and Alice's Hogwarts house. It might have been. That's something I'd have to like look up real quick because I don't remember. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really pay attention to Frank and Alice Longbottom all that much.
I ain't either, because everything about it is sad.
I want to say one of them was in Hufflepuff.
Probably Frank.
Why?
I don't know. It just Frank
Maybe
is
they
not a
both were
name that I would
Gryffindor.
associate
Why
with.
do I want to say one was a Hufflepuff and one was a Gryffindor? Maybe not.
Because Neville gives off
Nope,
some major
I guess they're
Hufflepuff.
both Gryffindors. I lied.
Okay. Neville definitely gives off some major, like, Hufflepuff vibes.
It's not mentioned in the books, so it has to be something from Pottermore, maybe. I also think that the Sorting Hat was trying to decide between Hufflepuff and Gryffindor for Neville, as far as where to put him.
Doesn't it just like instantly choose Hufflepuff for Gryffindor? Or not Gryffindor for Neville?
Not instantly.
remember.
It takes a
Okay.
minute. Him and Hermione like were on the stool for like a while.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
Hermione was
It's
almost
been a while.
Hermione was almost a hat stall.
Ravenclaw. She kind of has.
It was between Ravenclaw or Gryffindor, but
She also
sometimes she's
some
got
major Slytherin.
yeah.
vibes.
She gives us some Slytherin vibes sometimes.
I think the only thing she's not is a Hufflepuff.
No, she's definitely not a Hufflepuff.
Well, no, she kind of is. She's a hard worker.
She is.
She kind of represents like all houses. I feel like she could have gone
Anywhere and been
anywhere.
successful. I think
But,
she's very
yeah.
strongly Ravenclaw.
Yeah,
She's
more
very
so
hungry for learning.
more so Ravenclaw and Gryffindor, but I think you see all the houses.
Yeah,
in her.
she's got some tendencies for sure.
Mhm.
No, I think it's Malfoy. The hat doesn't even make it onto his head before the hat's like Slytherin.
Slytherin, just take me off, please.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, just.
There's some dark shit in here.
I don't want to touch it. I'm trying to think of the end of this book. I mean, I guess the epilogue is really like the end of the book. The end of the book, Harry like gets on the train with the photo album, and goes back to the Dursleys. And at the end of this book, like he's taking his own kids to the train. Like it just comes full circle.
Mhm.
He's finally got his family and stuff. But if this is the end of the book,
Well, I don't know. You're the parallel. I mean,
what I call
do you find that the epilogue
parallels
is
the
more
last
of a
chapter.
parallel of the
I feel
first
like
chapter than?
I feel like it's the epilogue and this chapter like together. I think it would have to be like a group together that would potentially parallel the first book. But you could take this
Maybe like
chapter-
the first chapter, Harry is leaving his family to go to the Dursleys. Harry's children is leaving their family to go to Hogwarts.
I mean, you could look at the chapters from the first chapter of this book and the last chapter of this book. So like the chapter
I don't remember the first chapter of this book at all, so that's you.
What? It's the chapter when Nagini eats somebody.
Oh, that's right. This is the book. Okay, so I remember a little bit.
Yeah, and Draco is sitting there and watching, and Voldemort is talking about
She's
taking.
like, "Please, Severus."
Yeah,
She's the
Professor, the Muggle studies
yeah.
teacher, and Bellatrix is like, Voldemort.
Notice me, senpai.
Yeah. And Snape gets to sit right next to Voldemort, and Bellatrix is jealous about it, and he's like, they're going to move Harry Potter on this day, not this day. And Yaxley is like, no, they're going to move Harry Potter on this day. I know they're going to do it. It's what Thickness said. And Snape
Thickness.
and Snape is like, no, that is incorrect.
Do you think that is his real name, or is that just a mean nickname?
Dude's name is Pious Thickness. That is that dude's name. I think they say it. I think someone at some point says Thickness is appropriate given his personality. Somebody says something like that in this book. I feel like that's an Arthur Weasley thing that was said at some point. And then Voldemort is like, haha, Bellatrix, your niece is dating a werewolf. That's gross. And then they pick on Charity Burbage for a little bit, and then Voldemort is like, come on, Nagini, I have a snack. So I guess the parallels would be Nagini's in the chapter. All three of the Malfoys are like there and very clearly upset and miserable and not having a good time. And then you kind of see the end result of that, where they're all reunited and they're together, and they're just they're still not belonging anywhere. Like they're in this first chapter, they're a part of the Death Eaters, but they don't really want to be. And then at the very end, like they're not really part of the good guys either, but like the bad guys have just been destroyed, and they're still in an uncomfortable place, sitting together.
Yeah. They're just trying to be good enough to not go to prison.
Yeah. And I mean, let's face it, they have enough money for that. Because they don't go to prison.
That's true.
Somehow. Well, I guess Lucius did go to prison for a little while, I suppose. I mean.
Yeah, how long did you go to prison?
It's pretty much most of the school year in 6.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I mean, was that long enough? No, I don't think so.
Not.
I mean, he broke into government building and tried to kill a bunch of people. So, I feel like that demands a longer sentence. But, I mean, I feel like...
But he said
Never mind, I'm not going to say it.
He said he was really sorry.
Yeah.
What's that in your hand? Oh, it's just a check from
How many
a donator.
galleons does it take to tell you how sorry I am?
How much you got?
Baldy has more than worn out his welcome as the Malfoy's house guest. He acted like he owned the place. 100%. How do you think it would feel to have Voldemort living in your house?
Always just playing in your mind.
Could be
You
in your
can't
brain
escape
at
it.
any moment.
Yeah.
Digging in there. Anytime.
Good morning, Draco. How was your dream last night? You know, the one where you did this, this, and this.
Yeah, like what if you're sleeping and then Voldemort's just in your head? I mean, does he have foods that he's specific about that he eats? Does Voldemort eat? He
I don't
must.
know.
He's still technically alive. He has to eat something.
What do you think his favorite food is? Do you think he just eats rats?
No.
Go full snake?
I see Voldemort as being like a man of particular tastes, but not rats. I don't think rats.
You think he still just drinks some Nagini milk?
I mean, I do think he does do stuff like that. Like, I do think he has...
Maybe that's why he's always feeding Nagini. He needs to drink the milk. Just walk in.
The way you said that,
just...
drink the milk. It's not what milking snakes means.
I know. But even then, just him sucking on her fang would just be weird.
Maybe he, like Harry, also really enjoys a good treacle tart.
You think like that became a guilty pleasure of his being in Harry's head for so long? Just out of nowhere, every once in a while, he's like, I'm really craving that treacle tart.
I gotta have me one of them right now. Gotta get one. I mean, maybe. I mean, Harry can speak parcel tongue and all this. There's got to be a trade-off somewhere. Maybe Voldemort really wants to treacle tart every once in a while.
Maybe
That's the
he has a
price
sweet tooth.
The price he pays for that connection. Yorkshire puddings.
Maybe.
Possible.
I don't know. With Warner Brothers, strapped for cash lately, we're probably going to see him eating like McDonald's in the series. Like when they're all sitting at the table, he's just gonna have like a Happy Meal next to him.
He's gonna give everyone Big Macs like Trump did at the White
Yeah.
House. Ew, I hate that. No.
Snape's gonna tell him about the plan and everything. Voldemort's just gonna take a bite of the burger. I'm loving that.
Oh, God. No. What if it's worse? What if it's something like Taco Bell?
Ew. I don't want to think about that. That's terrible.
It's terrible. How do
Oh
we...
man, it's after 9.
It is after 9. How do we all feel about the new Audible release? That they're going to do new audiobooks. How do we all feel about that?
Aren't they all like live casted too?
Yeah,
Like each character?
Yeah, they're gonna do a full cast ensemble audiobook.
Do we know who the cast is?
I don't know.
Well, maybe we can talk about that in the next live stream because we're gonna do a little test live stream.
Yeah. I do know someone in the Discord said that they would like me to be in it.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. But knowing Rowling, she's probably having all British actors.
I could fake it. I'm an expat.
There you go.
I can't stop thinking about Voldemort eating Big Macs right now, and it's terrible. I hate it. I hate it.
The McVoldy.
Do they make a special Voldemort burger?
I don't know, maybe.
I should audition if I can. I don't know. I don't know if I can.
Look it up. See.
What does audible.com have to say about it? Full audio cast edition. $100 actors. They already cast it? It feels like they already cast it.
Damn.
I don't know. I'll look into it, guys. I'll see. I don't... Here's the thing, though. If I could audition, I don't know really who I'm best equipped to play, really. Like, in all actuality.
Who do you have the most fun voicing? Just go with that.
I have a few that I really like.
Voldemort? Snape?
I love doing Voldemort. It's one of my favorites. I love doing Umbridge, too.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty great.
I love doing Umbridge. I like, I don't know. Umbridge is a lot of fun. Voldemort and Umbridge might be my favorites.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Wormtail. Yeah. Sorry that was not like the deepest dive that I thought it was gonna be. It just felt like a struggle to just read it without any file corruption.
We'll figure it out. We'll do a little short stream.
But it was really fun to read it again and hang out with everybody.
On that note,
I think unless anyone else has any other
we got work in
thoughts.
the morning.
Yes, I have to go to work in the morning. I do have to do that. I have to see Lulu. Lulu.
Anything else we're missing?
I don't think so.
All right.
I don't know.
Well,
other
get
than
on that auditioning.
I'm sorry we haven't streamed in a while. We are we say this every time, but we are going to try to be more active. It's just been hard. He's been applying for jobs, and I've had a lot of other things going on. But hopefully we calm down a little bit. We can pop in here. We've got a few videos kind of sitting on the back burner.
Yeah.
So
we'll see you in the next stream, happening when we do the next stream.
Yes. Bye.
Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.